Thank you. Wow. So spontaneous and heartfelt. Welcome to Mesa Morning Live. It is today the 11th? January 11, 2019. It's unbelievable. This will be the best show we've had this year so far. I can guarantee that. It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks so much to Crescent Crown Distributing. How about a nice round of applause for this beautiful venue that is so gracious to let us come in here and have fun one time a month. This is the house that beer built right here, so thanks for having us. Please join me in thanking our behind-the-scenes sponsors. That includes Alpha Graphics, Gateway Bank, East Valley Tribune, Yvonne Martinez Photography. Where's Yvonne? Always with the camera, running around. Yvonne Martinez Photography, Cobblestone Auto Spa, and Crescent Crown, once again, for providing this beautiful place. Breakfast today was provided by Artistic Touch Catering. So hopefully you loaded up on some breakfast this morning. It'll get us through the show here. Don't forget, on your way out, grab an attendee bag. This is a little way to promote your business if you'd like to have your business represented there and give away some stuff and kind of let people know that you're out there and trying to have your best year ever in 2019. There's no better way to start than by being part of the bag team there. So talk to them on their way out. I know I haven't mentioned it yet, but now would be a great time to silence your phones. You don't have to turn them off, just turn them to silent. That's our way of not disturbing those around you or the presenters up on stage. If it does go off, we'll make that a $20 donation to the United Food Bank. We've kind of coined that the Dave Barnes rule. Dave's one of our most gracious contributors because he can't remember to turn his phone off. But there we go. That's the United Food Bank thanking Dave. I'm not saying he donates a lot, but he uses us as a credit reference. So thanks for that. Well, we're gonna have a lot of fun today. We've got a bunch of presenters coming up, and we appreciate you guys being here. You know, you could tell who's serious about trying to take their business to the next level. It's the people that make a commitment to get up, come in here, network, and let people know about what you're doing and find out what's going on in Mesa. And so these are the movers and shakers when it comes to Mesa, Arizona, right here. What's the motto at Mesa Morning Live? The world belongs to the people that show up. All right, well, not a lot of enthusiasm. Evidently, that should also be part of the program. But it's a pleasure to kick off our first guest of the year. She's the Economic Development Senior Project Manager. That's a mouthful. Please welcome, from SRP, Carla Moran. Carla, come on up.
Morning.
Good to have you here. Welcome.
Pleasure, thank you.
You bet. And by the way, Mike Picard, we'll see him later, tried to call me and have my phone go off.
Someone tried to...
Mike, it does. See, I just look stupid. I turned mine off first. $20 fine, Mike Picard. Carl, welcome to Mesa Morning Live. Thanks for being here. You're with SRP. Now, can I call it SRP, or would you prefer Salt River Project?
In market, I usually say SRP. Out of market, I have to kind of explain because people don't really understand.
Okay, cool.
So yeah.
Well, I say SRP because, well, I'm lazy, but also. I think you're right. Everybody in market knows who you guys are. Yeah. Tell us a little bit about yourself. What's your history? What's your background?
So I've been in economic development now for 15 years. I started off at the state, doing international business for the state. And then I went to another community called Gilbert. And now I'm at SRP. So I've done a little bit tour of economic development, but it's interesting to see projects at each different level. It takes a whole team to get a project over the finish line. So it's been really nice to be able to sit at different seats at the table, so.
Well, our theme today is kind of like economic development in Mesa. How does SRP fit into that?
Well, Mesa keeps us really busy. Mesa's a big city, and there's a lot of opportunity in Mesa. The team in Mesa has done a wonderful job of preparing the community for growth. The ecosystem here is by far one of the best in class. We have ASU, MCC, all the community colleges, all the great K through 12 here. Mesa Chamber has done a lot to help with the ecosystem. And so having that accompanied with the city has helped create a vibrant ecosystem that companies want to come and do business. And it's taken notice on a national level. There's a lot of national companies now looking at Mesa, seriously wanting to do business here. And it's great to have such a wonderful city that we can tout when we travel.
So when a business is thinking about starting or relocating to Mesa, what kind of relationship do you have with that at SRP to make that all happen?
So I'm kind of like the concierge service of SRP. There's 5,000 people work at SRP. So I'm not an expert in half our business, but I know who the experts are. So I try to make sure our experts are at the table. So learning what the company needs, what they want, how they want to grow. A lot of the companies now have sustainable goals, so making sure that they understand that we want to help them and try to accomplish what their goals are. So my goal is really to get the A team at SRP around the table to help them accomplish their goals.
You mentioned that Mesa is very attractive for businesses wanting to come in. Are there any, off the top of your head, that are big businesses or businesses we've heard of that you'd like to share with?
I would love to, but I'd probably get in trouble because I have a couple of NDAs with a lot of them, so yeah. First,
come on, it's just look around.
Legal would probably not be extremely excited if I talk to you, but yeah. One of the first orders of business with most of the companies is we have to sign NDAs, which is kind of now par for the course, and so they have those fun project names that make no sense, and so most of the time they're like.
There's a lot of top secret stuff going on.
There is a lot.
Now, once they're here, of course, you can discuss.
Yes.
Then it goes the other way. Then you want to get the.
Then it's blabbermouth, right? Like loose lips. We're happy to share.
Okay, well, so who are some recent companies that you've worked with that are now here, and we can talk about them?
Well, Niagara's a big one that was here that we worked with. Dexcom. I'm trying to think of some other ones in Mesa. Able's been growing, so that's a big one for us. We work with existing companies that are growing also. So Piper Plastics. So we usually mostly get involved with clients that are power intensive, since sometimes they care about their power needs. So that's how we usually come to the table. Most office projects we may not be involved. We have some programs for our office users, like lighting rebates. And we have a new EV workplace charging station. A lot of the tech companies like that. It's kind of the cool, fun stuff right now.
Very cool. Well, I know SRP has a rich history. How old is SRP?
Really old. 1903 is when we started as a water company.
Wow.
Started bringing power about 1930. Most people know us by the water part of the business, or the power part of the business, which is the largest size part of the business for SRP. But the water people at the company remind us that we are a water company first, and then power.
Water and power. That's kind of two important things.
Very important things.
Especially in the desert.
Yes, one of the things when we go on a national level is to convey that we do have water in the valley. We are conservative with our water, and we understand that we have to plan appropriately and understand the usage of the water. But I think, are in a better situation than most people think. They think we're in a desert and that we have no water, and it's not quite the case. So
I know it's hilarious when I travel around the country. People go, "Oh, Arizona, you guys are running out of water, aren't you?" I always say, "Yeah, really, you don't want to go. If you come, bring a canteen or something, because
you might not get any.
We don't need any more people on our freeways. Can you do?
I can't do anything with the freeways.
Okay, I'm just spitballing here. Here's a thought. How many? Raise your hand if you're an SRP customer. All right, now
Am I the only one not?
Yeah. Don't you think it would be a great idea, maybe if you guys built a like a SRP HOV lane? So you're now.
I'll take that back to management. I'll take that back to management. We're working with ADOT. We'll see what we can do.
You could just by your license plate, you could just like tape your bill from SRP. So that they know that you're qualified, and then you drive in the SRP lane.
Pretty fair. We can see what we do.
How am I not running this city?
Great idea. I'll let Chris Brady know. That might help. Yeah.
Do tell Chris Brady. He's familiar with my work. He signed my commitment papers, but that's a whole nother thing. Well, cool. So people out here, not only here physically, but watching today on TV, how can the prospective business reach out to SRP?
There's many ways, but so the economic development team, we actually have our own website. It's Power to Grow PHX, and we focus on kind of our message externally to national clients, and on there we have our contacts. So there's 3 of us on the team. Our email, our phone number, everything's on there. We want to make it easy for businesses to contact us. Another great way is through the city. The city calls us all the time, bringing us in to work with clients. So we work in partnership a lot. So that's another great avenue to contact us through.
Power to Grow. I like, see? Snuck that in there, didn't you? Do the water side of the business, do they get upset about this?
A little bit, yeah, they actually do. So we're debating if we do like Power to Grow H2O. I don't know.
Power to Grow H2O, it rhymes.
We've been trying to figure it out.
Once again, I'm part of a think tank.
Yes, we're gonna bring consulting, right? We can do some consulting work for us.
I do consult work. We'll talk about my fee later. Well, you guys, thanks for being such a big supporter of Mesa Morning Live and also the Chamber. And thanks for helping the Valley grow and
happy to be here.
make this an even better place to live.
We like the sound of that, so we can do as best as we can. So.
That's perfect. Well, thanks for kicking off 2019.
Thank you.
Big round of applause, Carla Moran. Now it's time for our mystery guest. Ooh, we need to have, we're trying to make this a better show. I know there's really no room for improvement. We understand that. But we're always coming up with ideas. I think that we need to have some mystery music in the background, like, woo. Next month, come back next month. It'll be dynamite. This month, not so much. It's time for our mystery guest, and the way we normally do this is we reward whoever brings the most first-timers to Mesa Morning Live, and we invite them to come up on the stage and talk a little bit about their business. Today, we thought it would be kind of fun. Our mystery guest is actually a new, a lot of you voted for her. There's the clue right there. I'll let her tell a little bit about what she's up to these days. Please welcome a longtime chamber member and a new elected official. Please welcome Jennifer Duff. Jennifer. Good to have you here. Welcome. Good to have you here. Welcome. What's going on?
Thank you. Well, last night I was just sworn in the public ceremony at the Mesa Arts Center, and so I'm still riding that high, a little tired, but I'm just thrilled to go forward in this position.
The folks that may not know, tell them what you were sworn in to do.
Okay. So I'm the newly elected city councilwoman for District 4, which is downtown Central Mesa. And I'm very excited. I've been involved in the community. I know many of you for a very long time, being in the chamber and a number of organizations. So this is my opportunity to really do more in the community, and I'm so, so, so excited to serve in this capacity.
That's awesome. There we go. So last night was the swearing in ceremony.
Yes.
That's very cool.
Yes.
You know, politicians, you get sworn in, and then for the rest of your term, you're sworn at.
Yeah, I'm enjoying this moment right now, here and now.
You can tell a lot of this is just off the cuff, and I didn't really think it through very well.
That's okay. I feel the same. Yeah.
Well, good. Tell us, for those of you that, like you said, you've been a longtime chamber member. Give us a little quick background and history on were you born in Mesa?
I'm native to Mesa.
Wow.
Yeah. Okay. My mother's family came here from England during World War II and served at the Falcon Field at the Royal Air Force. And after the war, decided to stay here and pursue their American dream. And so my father is also was living in Mesa at the time, and they grew up in downtown Mesa, where I live now. So I went to Mesa High. I'm a jackrabbit, and we need that balance on city council. Too many warriors, all right? And I went to MCC and graduated from there, and I went into fashion from there. I worked for Goldwater's, if you remember, if you've been in Arizona for a long time, worked for them for a number of years as a buyer. And decided from there the most logical thing would be to go into fishing.
Fishing?
So, yeah.
Fishing?
Fishing.
Okay, sure.
So
Barry Goldwater was a big fisherman.
Well, yeah, no, it's just fashion fishing. It sounds nice.
Okay.
No, I've always been an outdoors girl, and I got into competitive fishing and was invited to Japan to promote the sport there. And I did that for a year, which led into an advising position. And when I came back to the States, it was in 1989, when I came back to the States, I created a business as an exporter, advising for these international distributors. Then I started with Japan, and now I'm around the world, but I advise for an international distributors of sport fishing equipment for recreation on American branded goods, and whether it's rods, lures, reels, wear, boats, and arrange for that export around the world.
I had no idea. See, this is why it's important to... By the way, you can catch Jennifer on the weekends sometimes. She's reeling in a bunch of fish out at Bass Pro Shops there. And that's awesome.
Yeah.
And there's a guy running around taking pictures right now. Who would that guy be?
He's a crazy guy that I've known for a number of years. We've known each other a very long time before we got together. We've been together about 5 years now. But we started I met him in the Mesa Leadership Program in 2011, 2012. We served on the IDEA Museum board together. We served in a number of we're in Rotary together, the Chamber together, a lot along this. So after a few years, it's kind of weird that my friend thought about me more, and now we're engaged, and we'll be married this year.
That's awesome. Well, I feel like Chuck Woolery up here. It's like the dating game, but you guys are getting married when?
October 5th. I just announced it last night.
October 5.
Is that a good time for you?
That's awesome.
Okay, all right.
Yvonne was like, the 5th? Really? That's awesome.
It was about 2 years ago, a little over 2 years ago, at this event.
I remember.
We had gone on vacation and came back, and he had proposed during that vacation. And I was so taken back. I was like, I don't know. I mean, yeah, I love you. Oh, well. And I had to pause. I have to think about things for a long time. And because I thought we would just be together. But at this event, I realized it made sense that we actually make that commitment in our
awesome.
marriage. And I got it in front of everybody and said,
That's awesome.
I proposed to him in reverse.
Are you going to hire a photographer or just do selfies? That would be awesome. The first selfie photographed wedding.
Dave Barnes offered to be our photographer with his iPhone.
I'd go with the selfies. Dave will be a little loopy by then. Well, thank you so much. Congratulations on being sworn in last night. I know you're dedicated to your constituents and to the city of Mesa, and you're going to make it an even better place to live, work, and do business. So thanks for being here, and thanks for being our mystery guest, Jennifer Duff. Good job. What a cool story that was. That's fun. Well, now it's time for a silly little portion we do as opposed to the serious stuff up to now. This is our top 10 list. It's time for the Mesa Morning Live top 10 list. Joining us on stage, our sponsor from the East. Oh. Oh yeah, let's go with Tim. It had been going way too smooth. So when I pulled one piece of paper over, another one went with it. A lot of places rehearse stuff. Here, we wing it. Please welcome to the stage this guy that thought he was going to do a top 10 list. This is sponsored by Gateway Bank. This is our community spotlight. For more than 10 years, Gateway Bank has done what they can to be your business bank, so give them a shot. Please welcome to the stage, representing the Mesa Ho-Hokums, the president and Big Ho, Mr. Tim Boffman. Tim. Welcome, sir. Good to have you here.
Thank you.
Did you hear the music that was playing?
I did. That was pretty cool.
Did you know what that song was?
Taking Care of Business.
By?
Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Boffman Turner. Boffman Turner Overdrive.
That's a good name.
Yeah, thank you. Good to have you here, and I can't help but notice you've got a some kind of hubcap hanging around your neck.
How you like that?
That is awesome.
This is only to be worn by the big hoe. And it's passed from generation to generation as the big hoe of the Mesa Ho-Ho Camp. You can see Mr. Adams, he has a very small bolo tie that our regular members wear, and Steve actually, past Mesa Man of the Year, is the next incoming big hoe someday if all goes well.
Who's the income? Wait a minute, if all goes well. I like that little. Who's the incoming hoe? Raise your hand.
He's the little hoe.
He's the little hoe.
Yeah.
Well, that's a pretty. Was that crafted by a hoe?
I don't know the genesis of where it was made, but it's worth quite a bit of money.
You know, if you're going to wear that, you need to research the history of that and get back to us on that.
I'll do that soon.
That's cool. Now you said that was worth like $3 or $4 grand.
It is.
Good to know. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. Gotta be careful.
See people's wheels are turning here.
Do I need a bodyguard leaving the place today?
Exactly.
Is that the deal?
Well, cool. Well, tell us. We jokingly we call you guys ho, and that's a term of endearment. Tell us who the hoes are. That's hard to say. Who the hoes are, and what the ho do you guys do?
Did you know Sally Harrison's a hoe? Did you know that?
I thought that was down on the ho low. Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah, I knew that.
Yeah.
Did you know that I'm a one-day-a-year hoe?
I understand that. You've done some great work for us in the past. We appreciate that very much.
That's right. I love being a hoe.
Getting back on task here, you seem to.
You know what's great about being a hoe? When you wake up in the morning, you're at work.
That's well said.
We'll edit that out. Okay. All right, enough of that. We have fun with the name,
All right.
but just talk about the serious things that you guys do.
Thank you. I've been involved with a great organization now for 22 years called the Mesa Ho-Ho Cams, organized back in 1951. Back then, most of the major league ball teams were practicing in spring training in Florida. And some civic leaders, kind of led by Dwight Patterson, back in 1951 said, hey, what about Arizona? And so they formed a group called the Ho-Ho Cams to promote spring training baseball in Mesa, Arizona, and raise some money along the way. And that's where it started. And here we are almost 70 years later. Fast forward to 2019, there are now 15 teams that spring train in Arizona. It's half the teams of the major leagues are now here. And ASU's School of Business, the W.P. Carey School of Business, did an economic impact of spring training in Arizona. And last year, they figured that to be $644 million of economic activity that occurs in Arizona for spring training, which is pretty phenomenal.
That's unbelievable. Good for you guys.
We have about 185 members. We all volunteer our time to conduct spring training. And on top of that, we have about 80 true volunteers that aren't members but help us out during the season. We partner with the Chicago Cubs at Sloan Park. We partner with the Oakland A's at Ho-Ho Cam Park, Dwight Patterson Field. And we have great contracts and great service agreements with both those teams. We raise a lot of money, and we then turn around and give that money back to the community.
Well, I'll tell you what, the last couple of spring trainings, I've gone out to the Ho-Ho Cam Park. What a fun day at the ballpark that is. And the weather's always great. You know, we got better weather than Florida.
It rains in Florida. I don't know why anybody would want to spring train in Florida.
I know. And the crazy thing is, prior to having this so many teams come here, Think about teams that went all the way from the West Coast all the way to this. Did they not have a map?
Apparently not. And right now, all 15 teams spring train in Maricopa County. So the longest drive for a team to go play another team is only 45 minutes. Wow. As opposed to Florida, they're going from the East Coast to the West Coast, all over the place. So it's a lot bigger driving, and the logistics are much more difficult in Florida than in Arizona.
Exactly. Plus, in the history of this is the Cactus League, and that's the Grapefruit League.
That's correct.
In the history of the Cactus League, not one accident involving an alligator.
that's well said.
Yeah,
that's well said. And what's neat for us is the Chicago Cubs. They always lead attendance of any team, whether it be Arizona and or Florida. And so the Cubs are a big draw. Almost every game of the 18 home games coming up here is going to be sold out.
That's incredible.
Yep.
And it couldn't happen without you guys. Just, hey, round of applause, $644 million. Round of applause if your business in any way is positively impacted by the Cactus League spring training here. Pretty cool. Hey, when you're not being the head ho, what line of work are you in?
My paying job is with Northern Trust in their wealth management division up in Scottsdale. I run the office up there. I've been there 27 years now and enjoy that company a great deal. And they allow me to take the time off to be a ho-ho cam and even be the big ho, which even requires more time.
Absolutely, that's awesome. If somebody out there, either in the audience or watching at home, wants to be a volunteer and maybe work their way up into being a ho, what do they do?
They contact another ho-ho cam. We have a website, www.hohocams.org. We're always looking for new members. They are elected by the membership. They have to be sponsored by another member. And so that's kind of how that works. We also have a volunteer staff. And if they don't want to become a member, they can volunteer during the games at either park in February and March. And so just reach out to a fellow ho-ho cam, reach out to the website, and we can steer you in the right way.
And it's a lot of fun. You know, you can sell programs and help people find their seat. It's a blast. It's a great way to spend time at the ballpark.
We kind of do it all. So when someone drives up on the lot, we take their money to park the car. We direct them where to park their car. We then take their ticket to get in the ballpark. We then hopefully sell them a program as they're walking in. We have ushers. We usher them to their seat. We have a 50-50 raffle at each ballpark, and so we're encouraging people to buy those tickets to win some money potentially. And then we're all ambassadors for the teams, and we do our best to enhance that spring training experience for someone coming to either Sloan Park or Ho-Ho Camp Park.
That's all right. Here we go. You got a question coming in from Sally. How much money was given back to the community last year?
You were supposed to ask that a while ago, but thank you, Sally, for bringing that up.
Wouldn't you rather have this be an organic thing? Does it have to be scripted? Can't we play this seventh inning first and then maybe go to the first?
I kind of like looking this way because this way there's some glare up there, so it's kind of getting in my eyes. So.
That's fine, that's fine. Plus, you have to look up. Well, I understand. I'm a trained professional, folks.
So we raise money the following ways. We have service agreements with each team. We have a 50-50 raffle to where we obviously get half the money the winner doesn't get. We sell programs. We have a golf tournament every year. We just had one in December that raised about $85,000. And then we do have a foundation that returns some income. So all that money, again, we're all volunteers. We turn around and give that money out to the community. Last year for 2018, that number was $455,000 that we gave away to worthy organizations. And that's a record for the Ho-Ho Cams that we've never given that.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for being here. And I know you guys work hard, but I got to tell you this. They also play, and they have a lot of fun, too. I've been to the little clubhouse there. I won't divulge where that is.
That's Secret Scooby there.
But that's pretty fun. So if you want to be part of the program, like you said, volunteer, talk to another hoe, get out there, soak up some sunshine, sell some programs, have a good time. What do you think? Can you do $500,000 this year from four?
That's our goal. So Ron Durante was I replaced him as the big hoe, and my goal coming in was to reach that $500,000 mark. So we hope to do that this year.
Here's a thought. If you're a little bit short, there's a wealth management firm up in Scottsdale. Probably match that and get you to 500.
That's a good idea.
No, thank you. Hey, thanks so much for coming in. How about a big round of applause? Mr. Boffman, thanks. Serious, that's serious money. How many millions a year in economic impact? $644.2 million. You can buy one of those things if you have that much money. All right, I think now we're going to do the top 10 list. Please welcome to the stage. She's going to actually do the presentation. Lynette Carrington from the East Valley Tribune. Come on up, Lynette. Welcome.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm wonderful. It's kind of hard following the host show. All right.
Not touching that one. So we're going to do a top 10 list.
Yes.
And today's topic is?
Today is appropriately themed the top 10 worst New Year's resolutions. And I know that you all have them. Here we go. Number 10. And this is probably my favorite one because I work in the publishing industry. So just take a look at your screen. Tim Bolton says, New Year's resolutions. 1024 by 576. 1152 by 648. So that might be a publishing and a digital joke. That's kind of funny. Number 9, Sean Booth. My New Year's resolution is to try and put less than 4 chapsticks through the washer and dryer next year.
Hey, wait,
I know you can relate to that too.
Let's go back to number 10. So those were monitor resolutions, correct? Number 10.
Yes.
I'm trying to clear this up because I see a blank look on everybody's face.
I know.
We're not all nerds.
Resolution.
Okay, go ahead. Okay, so you've done 10 and you've done 9. 9's hilarious.
8.
Number 8.
Increase my relationship status from forever alone to slightly desperate. Not a stretch, maybe. Number 7, New Year's resolution number 17, become as fat as I was the very first time that I ever thought I was fat. Okay.
That is so sad and true.
Number 6 from Matt Oswald. My New Year's resolution is to overcome my OCD. My New Year's resolution is to overcome my OCD. My New Year's resolution is to overcome my OCD. So hopefully he'll have success with that. Number 5 from actor-producer Rainn Wilson. My New Year's resolution is to spend less time interacting with people and more time with my phone. Doing pretty well so far. Number 4, New Year's resolution, exercise my right to eat more tacos. Yes. That might be my favorite one. Yes. Number 3 from Angela Bellacamino. My 2017 resolution was to eat more bacon and drink more whiskey.
Oh.
I like that one
too. What a country.
Yeah. Hey, that's an idea maybe for next month's breakfast buffet.
Breakfast
bacon
and whiskey.
Yeah, let's do that.
Wow.
Number 2, never again will I take sleeping pills and laxatives on the same night. I don't understand that one. Okay. There's a story there.
That's a mistake you won't make twice. Hey, just refresh my memory. What number was that?
That was number 2.
Thank you, folks. My work here is done. Thank you.
Thanks, Mark. I'll have to watch that one on replay.
And the number 1.
Number 1 from Lauren Brady. My New Year's resolution is to never by accident walk in on my dad cleaning the shower naked ever again.
Oh. Especially if he had done that number 2 thing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. How about a big round of applause for our top 10
Happy
list?
New Year.
Thanks, Lynette. See, we got to spice it up. I like that, Bob. Nicely done. We got to have a little fun with the top 10 list. And if you didn't like it, I'll get you Bob's email address, and you can. No, okay. Now it's time for a fun little segment that we started doing a few months ago. It's called This Day in Mesa Morning Live. We're going to test your knowledge of Mesa Morning Live history. Please join me in welcoming to the stage our sponsor, Mr. Mike Picard of Ocean Air. Good to see you.
How are you?
Good, welcome. And boy, now get a look at this, Mr. Boffman. Double the glare. Mike, what's going on? Tell us about Ocean Air. It's too cold for you now.
It is. It's too cold. It's nice. Everybody's, telling me how nice the weather is, so I'm just getting angry and bitter.
Mike is happy when it's just scorching out.
That's right. I'm happiest when you're not happy. When you're miserable, I'm thrilled. So,
but in all seriousness, if you need any kind of air conditioning work, HVAC,
commercial, residential, call Ocean Air, because remember, we are tradesmen, not salesmen. So call Ocean Air.
That's perfect. Good. So tell us what you're doing today. What have you brought? You brought me an envelope?
We have an envelope. We have a $50 gift certificate to Rodizio Brazilian Steakhouse for this month's winter.
Now, raise your hand if you've eaten there. I've heard it's phenomenal. Sally, you love it. I have not been there. I got to go there. What are the chances that maybe I could talk you out of that? None. Okay. You're going to reach in here. You're going to pull out a card. You're going to pull out a card, and the person that you pull out is going to join us on stage. You're going to hit them with a trivia question. If they get it right, they get a $50 gift card. If they don't know the answer, which, look. They have a lifeline. They can ask somebody else for help, but it can't be a member of the Mesa Morning Live staff. How did I do?
You did pretty good, although last month, they can pick one person, but a lot of people seem to try to chime in and help. I think if more people try to chime in and help than the one they pick, that's a $20 donation to the United Food Bank.
Oh, I like that. So you get one lifeline, anybody else, zip it. If you just got to get it out, well, thank you, because you're going to donate $20. I like the way you think there, Mr. Picard. Tradesman, not a salesman.
That's right.
Reach in, pick it out. I saw your card in there too, so do not pick your card. Join us on stage, please, from Finance of America Mortgage, Mr. Greg Mattern. Greg, come on
Greg.
up, buddy. By the way, as you're approaching the stage, Greg, I'd like to make a comment. Greg's initial body language when I called your name was this. What? You're gonna win $50 to go have a great meal, and you get. This happened last month. I'm not going to mention her name, but this should be This is better than The Price is Right. Whiskey and bacon right there. All right, Greg, tell us real quick. Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
I'm a mortgage loan officer with Finance of America. I handle residential and commercial loans.
Perfect.
I'm excellent at down payment assistance, credit repair, and education.
Perfect. Good to know. And now, have you been here before? Many times?
Not enough, I'm sure.
Well, nobody's been here enough. You're going to get a question from Mr. Picard to your right. If you have the answer right off the top of your head, boom, you're out of here. You go sit down, you don't have to. If you don't know the answer, ask somebody. So, Mike, take it away.
All right. In July 2017, the episode was sponsored by a business that has a very large organ. And co-owner Jack Bars told about the food drive that they had helped champion. Name that business.
Okay, let's hit the key points of that. It was July of 2017, a large Mesa business with a large organ. No, don't even.
Organ Stop Pizza.
Boom! Boom!
We start off 2019 with the first contestant ever to get it without a lifeline, so congratulations.
There you go. Congratulations, sir. Thank you. Thanks, Mike. See, that's what we needed to start the year off on a positive note. No lifeline. Boom, he nailed it. Good job, Mike. And by the way, if you close a loan with Finance of America Mortgage, you might get dinner for two. Look at him waving that. All right, folks, it's time to bring up our special guest of the day. And thank you again, Mike Picard, for doing that. And he'll be back with us next month for a little trivia question. The Greater Phoenix Economic Council team works collaboratively to support expansion and relocation projects for companies considering Greater Phoenix. Please join me in welcoming today the President and CEO, Mr. Chris Camacho. Chris. Good to have you here, Chris. Welcome.
Nice to see you this morning.
You heard that? Camacho.
You like that?
It's Camacho Macho Man.
It is. I've heard that before.
Yeah. Ah.
You know, Bill Jabjiniak told me you were kind of funny, but you're actually pretty funny.
Hey, thanks. Thank you. Thank you, sorta. No more dinners for Chris Camacho. All right, hey, you're by far a snappy dresser. Thanks for kicking off 2019 the right way.
Hey, I'm trying.
You got the thin, the cut. All my pants are skinny pants, and they're not supposed to be. But you look good. I don't know, I have no idea why I'm complimenting on your fashion. Tell us a little bit about what's going on with your business.
I was going to tell you about my tailoring life, but we can save that for another day.
Yeah, let's over coffee later.
He told me not to do the skinny pants because my calves are too fat. That's what he told me. Anyway, like you said, another time.
Thanks,
right.
sir.
You're the funny guy.
Thanks for proving this comedy ain't easy.
That's right. Yeah, that was good. That was well played. All right, so what do I do for my day job?
Yeah, what's your day job?
Try to get us back on track here.
Yeah.
So I run Greater Phoenix Economic Council, and we are a public-private partnership focused on driving the region's economy. So imagine getting to work with 22 mayors and the Board of Supervisors, all of the university system, community college leadership, and about 160 private sector companies, all focused on advancing the region's economic position. That's recruiting companies from around the world. It's driving the brand strategy. As an example of the New York Times here next week, talking about the technology transformation that's happening across the region. So a lot of my work, if you Googled GPEC, you would see us in a variety of the national publications, but also working with people like Bill and Chris Brady and the mayor here in Mesa, talking about how do we cultivate a strategy that creates more economic diversity and grows high-wage jobs for the citizens of Mesa and the rest of the region.
Well, that's awesome. And I'm looking at a number here, $14.8 billion in capital investment since '89. That's a lot of money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so what's happening around the world today, the projects in manufacturing, R&D are becoming much more capital intensive. And so you'll hear me talk, and I get on my pulpit a little bit about how we're preparing the next generation workforce in applied learning. Because today's environment to recruit companies, so if you're talking about, say, Microsoft or Apple or any one of these global companies today, there's so many facets that go into why companies make decisions. Generally, it's really about talent and talent disposition of a market, and it's about critical modern infrastructure that exists, that cities have forward-thinking policies on the books that they're investing in infrastructure. And really, it's about what a governor and legislature does to prepare a market to be pro-business. So there's a variety of different processes companies go through to analyze which market, but I can tell you, Greater Phoenix and the state of Arizona, we're one of the most attractive places to do business today.
Why is that? I mean, we always brag about our weather, but it takes more than that to attract businesses. What makes your pitch effective when you talk to these companies?
Well, it used to be about sunshine and golf and tourism and selling how easy it is to live here and be here. But today's market's vastly changed because public companies have to get a return to shareholders. So, I deal generally with the bean counters, so the CFOs, and I deal with the chief human resource officers. Those are the two people that come through my door regularly, and they're trying to understand what's the K through 20 or P through 20 even system that you're preparing future workers for the future workforce. And so we go through every community college, the types of programs they have within the system, in addition to what's happening at ASU and GCU and the other university systems here. That's the competitive advantage we have today. It's the labor disposition of the market, and we still have a very competitive cost environment, and we have a very incredible speed to market approach with our cities. So when our cities go through a development services and permit process, it might be 16 months faster than California. And so, my teams in California actually have 4 in Vegas today and 2 in California, pitching companies on why to come to Metro Phoenix.
That's amazing. Yeah, I know. The process in California is just prohibitive. And does having ASU right here, that's got to be a big plus.
Well, I would argue Michael Crow is probably the most transformational leader in the last 10 years that has reshaped our identity as a brand, as a state's identity. When I would travel around the world to China, to Western Europe, and tell the Arizona story, going back to the 1950s, post-World War II, and how people came here, the advent of the air conditioner, and having water positions with SRP, in a strong favorable position. The one thing that people still viewed Arizona in terms of 10 years ago was that we weren't a place that had a strong sense of knowledge capital. I think ASU has dramatically changed that. There's 22,000 students in the engineering school. The community college has 265,000 students within it and is producing people really ready for industry needs. So I would tell you our labor position, along the lines of places like Metro Dallas, Metro Atlanta, and Metro Charlotte, those are kind of the 4 IT places across the country today, in addition to Austin.
Wow.
And so we're constantly analyzing our competitive position, but I will tell you, we're in a really unique spot. But we need to make really strategic investments in modern infrastructure and the human capital position of our market coming forward.
That's awesome. Well, it's got to help that ASU's right here and that U of A is 100 miles away. That's got to help. Where are the Sun Devil fans? I'm just kidding. So tell us a little bit. I mean, man, you're on this. Tell us a little bit. How did you end up here? What's your history? Where are you from?
Yeah, so I grew up in the St. Louis area. So, when Bill and the previous mayor invited me out to the Cubs business to baseball game, I'll tell you how hard that was for me, being a Cardinal fan. But I swallowed my pride. I showed up, didn't I, Bill? And came out and somewhat cheered for whichever team was playing, because it wasn't the Cardinals. But when I looked at, the opportunities that exist in Arizona, I moved out here 15 years ago, and I moved to the southwestern part of the state, to Yuma. And I ran their economic strategy in northern Mexico and southwestern Arizona for 4 years. And talk about cutting your teeth in a challenging place. 30% unemployment, transient market, largely driven by military and agriculture. And over the time I was there, we were able to bring 35 new companies to Metro Yuma at the time, and San Luis and Somerton. And my predecessor, who was the CEO of GPEC, came down, just a quick story. He came down to one of my events in Yuma, and in front of my entire board, in front of all of the public officials, said, I'm going to steal this guy and bring him up to the big leagues in Phoenix. And I'm like, I brought him up as a guest speaker, and here he is telling everyone who pays me to leave the market. So ultimately, and my wife was like 7 months pregnant at the time, so she was like, absolutely not, we're not moving. So subsequently, 6 months later, we ended up moving to Phoenix, the rest is history. So that was 10 years ago. I moved up here to Phoenix. 2008. What a great time to move to Phoenix. So we looked over the cliff, and then we just, plummeted for 17 quarters, worked our way back, and I can tell you the resiliency of this market has changed. We're not so over-reliant on housing and consumption jobs, and we need another decade, though, of this kind of economic performance to continue to insulate ourselves against that kind of downturn.
That's awesome. Where'd you go to high school in St. Louis?
So I grew up on the Illinois side of St. Louis,
okay.
So Quincy High, yeah. So okay. I call myself, from St. Louis, but I'm really from the Illinois side.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Well, that's awesome. And so your wife said, no, we're not doing it, and you did it. You're going to tell me later how that all happened. I've never had that conversation before.
Usually you don't win those conversations.
No, I know. I'm baffled. You're the first.
Yeah. It took me about 6, 7, 8 months to get through that process and continue to sell, yeah.
That's awesome. Well, so you've been here how many years?
I've been in Phoenix, yeah, for 10.
So we're going on 11 years.
Yep.
Crystal ball time. Hopefully you'll be around for the next 11 years. Don't leave us. Don't go back to Yuma. Where do you see this valley? What's the GPEC outlook?
Yeah. Well, this is, I think, the most exciting time in our history as a state, and we're in a position now where the governor's making some strategic decisions about water and ensuring we have, from a scarcity management perspective, you talked about water and SRP's leadership in water, critical for our future sustainability. I do think that the economy has changed as we know it, and if anyone loves to read, you talked about kind of nerdy outlooks in the United States, there's definitely a change happening in the U.S. where you see urban versus rural disparities. So urban markets are winning. They're winning jobs. They're winning white-collar jobs at a higher density than rural. You're also seeing urban inequity. So we're at this, I believe, crossroads where we as Greater Phoenix and the 22 cities here, we're going to have population growth. But that's not enough. We have to ensure that we're making the right kind of intentional investments, and I think the only way we get to intentional investments is if we modernize our tax code and make some hard decisions that will really propel us for the next 20 years. I will tell you the advanced industry, so your Intels, your Boeings, your corporations like that, what do they care about today? They care about modern infrastructure, they care about the quality of place in terms of communities, and they care about the pipeline of workforce. We have to have investment strategies that enable us to continue to evolve. And absent that, we're going to be a big place that's really spread out without a lot of density. And my view is that we have to make a bet right now over the next decade that will, I believe, set us on a new trajectory for the next 50 years. And a lot of that comes back to tax code modernization, because we have the tax debate going on in our state as we speak. And I think if we make some really good decisions, we're going to be, I think, much like Seattle, without some of the complexities that they're having in terms of cost. But at the same time, we're in a position where we're kind of viewed as this place between Seattle and tech and Austin and scalable growth. And that's a really good spot to be in, with a very pro-business environment and a very kind of limited regulatory environment. So my crystal ball for 19, to get back to your question, 19 I think is going to be an exceptionally solid year. So you read all the noise and the headlines. I tell you, the only thing that concerns me is corporate debt. Outside of that, and some softness in the supply chain in China and Hong Kong, outside of that, the fundamentals on jobs, unemployment, consumer confidence, everything looks pretty good for 19. So I think we're going to at least have another 3 quarters of run rate. There's 385 companies right now looking at Greater Phoenix to make major investments. So wow. I've never seen it like this.
That's incredible. Mm-hmm. So what's your say? I run some big company in a heavily taxed, heavily regulated state like, let's just say California. Mm-hmm. What's your pitch to me? Why should I come here? Give me your elevator pitch.
Yeah, well, it depends what kind of company you are, so whether you're tech or advanced manufacturing. But here's the reality is, you come to a market like Arizona, you're going to have political certainty. You're going to have a market and a government that really supports your business, stands on side and side in partnership with your business. We have cities, counties, and states that really welcome industry as opposed to regulate it. And at the same time, we're building up the critical modern infrastructure with our cities and digital, so fiber infrastructure, certainly having water, wastewater strategies that go in place. So if you want a turnkey site in Metro Phoenix, we can deliver it tomorrow and build you a state-of-the-art facility in 10 months. It's going to take you 26 months on average to do that in California. But it's all going to really come back to whether you can scale from a labor perspective, and we're one of the fastest growing markets in the United States. And at the same time, the livability aspect, my close is always, you're going to have the ability to really move to a market where you can buy twice the house for half the cost and a better quality of life. It's that simple.
That is amazing. I talk to a lot of people that move here, and they're just, if you think your home's expensive, yeah, it might be, but when you compare it to other places, it's amazing.
Especially California.
Yeah. I just talked to a guy who sold his small home in LA, in the LA area, moved to Prescott, bought a home twice the size, and put $250,000 in the bank, and thinks he's won the lottery. Mm-hmm. And that's Arizona versus what we're up against.
Yeah, I mean, how many times I get calls on my cell? I got one as we were sitting there, as you were going.
Did it ring?
No, I turned on vibrate.
Okay. All right, so go ahead.
I'll still support the food bank. If someone wants to talk to me afterwards, I'm happy to support that. So, yeah, whoever that is. But, when these calls come in, typically they're just waiting for the next regulation, the next head tax, the next gross receipts tax, the next regulatory impact to their business, and particularly small business that doesn't have all this corporate, legal infrastructure to figure out the solution. There's a lot of these second, third generation companies in Southern California that are manufacturers that are at the point now as they're handing the keys off to the next generation, and the next generation saying, you know what, I don't know if I want to run this business in California anymore. So we're seeing those kind of companies enter Greater Phoenix, and again, we're a concierge model like Carla mentioned at SRP and Bill. We put our hands out and we really embrace these companies, and I will tell you the concierge experience they have separates our market from just about everywhere else in the United States.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was in LA not long ago when they were actually considering, I don't know if you saw this, a text tax. So if you receive or send a text and it pings off a California tower, you get a little ding on your bill. It's like they're just looking for ways to it's out of control. Well, it sounds like you've positioned yourself quite nicely. Let me ask you a selfish question. If you've got kids or grandkids out there, what industries should they look at? What's looking forward? Tech? I mean, that's where it is, isn't it?
Well, I think industries related to connected devices and embedded systems. So think of this whole universe of being connected, whether it's through a watch, through a heart monitor, all of the biometrics activity that's happening in healthcare. I think healthcare is going to be a massive industry, and so that would be one. I think even here in Mesa, when I look at what's happening and what the city's done in the last decade, aerospace and defense is kind of reinventing itself. So no longer, I mean, we look at the Apaches that we all know and well out at Falcon Field with Boeing, but now you have the composites division of Boeing here as headquartered here in Mesa. You have the electrical wiring unit here as well. So aerospace and defense, microelectronics, healthcare, they're all evolving into embedded systems. And I think we're going to see a revolutionary change in the community college system as well as the university systems around adaptive and applied learning, where you're now going to become a lifelong learner. And the traditional 4-year track, there'll still be those, but I think the 2-year model, and I think shifting into the K through 12 system, my goal over the next 10 years is that when you graduate from high school, you also have a dual enrollment certificate in some kind of skilled trade. And if we do that together and really modernize education, this place will be off the charts because people will want to grow here, stay here, and ultimately find their second and third jobs here, because that's one of the knocks of this market. You can find your great first job. It's hard to get promoted into your second and third job in your career here. So our job from a recruitment standpoint is to bring those jobs, but over time, we want to ensure that we can continue the pipeline so our kids and grandkids can ultimately stay here throughout their lifetime.
That's awesome. Healthcare is going to be huge. You know my healthcare plans from here on out? Bacon and whiskey. Pretty much it. Quick question, trivia question. What kind of car do you drive?
I drive an Infiniti.
Is it clean or dirty?
Very dirty.
Well, we didn't even rehearse this. We would like to thank you. By the way, how about a big round of applause for Chris Tomatic? Very nice of you.
Thank you.
It's great to see somebody that's on top of your game, and you're very optimistic about what the Valley's got to offer, and thanks for being here. Thanks for taking time. One of our favorite sponsors, they're huge in the Mesa Chamber, is Cobblestone Auto Spa. They would like to present you with a $100 detailed gift card to give that to your wife. Let her, tell her you bought it, and get your car detailed. You can find a Cobblestone everywhere.
Been there before, yeah.
If there's not one close to your house, get one put in somewhere. That would be a good GPEC move.
Hey, I appreciate it. Thanks so much for the opportunity.
How about a big round of applause once again? Thank you so much. Great job. Great job. Man, I'll tell you what, I don't know a lot, but I think that guy knows a lot of stuff right there. He's on top of his game, so you got to feel good about having him as the CEO of GPEC. I'd like to thank you guys. We're going to turn you loose on the streets of Mesa and Arizona. Go out and make it a great day. We'd like to thank all of our sponsors, starting with right here at Crescent Crown Distributing, everybody that provided breakfast. You know who the sponsors are. Pick up a bag on your way out. If you'd like to be a contributor to the bag program, talk to Sally or Bob or anybody with the chamber. Next month, make sure you come back. Do us all a favor. If you look around right now, you'll see a pretty good turnout, but there's empty chairs. We're trying to get the Valley to grow. We're trying to get Mesa Morning Live to grow. So bring a friend, bring a couple of friends. You could be the mystery guest. Come up here and win some stuff. So you guys are a great crowd. Thanks for making Mesa such a great place to live, work, and play. Have a great time. Go out and make it a great day, folks. I'm turning it loose. Goodbye.